Hi guys, and welcome to Unit 2, Week 3's Learning Path. I wanted to start out on my It's Learning page and go through the directions carefully with you, and then we'll look into the learning path in just a minute. But I wanted to point out one thing that is on my It's Learning page is that I do make note that your assignment is to complete Unit 2, Week 3 Learning Path, but also to go back and make sure that you are completing any outstanding items. So I put that in the homework column. Just as if you were in school, it's important for you to think of maybe those outstanding items that you've not gotten to. If you have any missings, make sure you're making time for those. This is an important week for that because Friday is the end of quarter 1. I can't believe it, but we are finishing the first quarter of 7th grade. So it is so important that you are going back, making sure that you do not have any missings. You can utilize Infinite Campus for that to see if you have any grades missing in the grade book. You want to make sure that those are done. I also give you a note about how to communicate that with me. I can't reiterate that enough and how important that is. I know it is hard for a 7th grader to understand, but we have many students, and your teachers are juggling lots of different classes with many different assignments each. So think about the number of assignments you have a week for your math class, and then think that I am teaching that times 5. So I have lots of assignments. So it is so important for you to make sure that you're communicating with me via It's Learning to say, Miss Northam, I went back to Unit 1, Week 3, and I completed this assignment in Edulastic, giving that name, just as an example, okay? So if you will tell me the week that you completed or the week's work that you completed, the name of the assignment, and send that to me in an It's Learning message, that certainly helps me to go back and track down that late work so that I can get your grade updated in Infinite Campus, okay? That helps me out a lot, and I appreciate your cooperation on that. All right, let's dive into this week's learning path. And you are going to notice that this week's is a little bit shorter, so I'm sure that you are excited about that. If I start with the lesson overview, you will see that it lists the tasks, and they are listed by lesson. So you have 5 lessons, really 4, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And then your teaching sessions are linked. I talk a little bit about we are going into problem solving, solving equations. So it is going to be super important that you are doing your work on paper and showing your steps. And I'm just going to keep reiterating that throughout this unit. So please make sure you're using good math habits there. And then our learning targets this week are 1, 2, and multi-step equations. All right, so let's look into, if I go back, I'm going to find the second step. Okay, lesson 1. So we were on the overview, now we're in lesson 1. So lesson 1, here are your tasks. This is organized exactly like it is every week, so hopefully you're finding this easier to follow the directions. Here are your tasks. Now, this first page is on one-step equations, and I know that that is probably going to be very simple for you guys, but I think it's a good review. There are a couple of videos for you to watch, making sure that you're comfortable with solving one-step equations that involve positives and negatives. So again, utilizing those integer rules, your rational number rules. So those are there. And then there is a quick little video on making sure you're able to solve with fractions and decimals, because that will be a key part of our equations that we look at. There is a worksheet on one-step equations with negatives, adding and subtracting. There's an answer key that you can check. So you're going to find throughout this learning path that there are a few worksheets like you would be in class, doing the worksheet and then checking with the answer key. So I've provided that answer key for you so that you can check your work, not so that you can just look at the answers. So make sure you're doing that. And then finally for this one, there's a quizzes that you can take to practice. Okay, so you should do those things. When I look at lesson 2, we're moving on from one-step equations to now two-step equations. In two-step equations, there are, again, a couple of videos to watch. I have stressed the importance of pausing and taking notes, just as if you were in class listening to a teacher. There is a Google Classroom activity called Which One Doesn't Belong, and you're going to have slides in Google Slides, and there will be 4 problems, and all of them will solve to the same answer with the exception of one. So it will give you directions on how to complete that and submit that in Google Classroom. And then, just like we had last week, you're going to do a little bit of your interactive notebook with each step. So your interactive notebook, page 26, for completing this second step. There was also a step in your notebook for one-step equation, so make sure you've done that. All right, so your interactive notebook was assigned in Google Classroom last week. You're going to continue working on that throughout this unit, so you do not need to submit it until we are finished with the unit. All right, so let's move on to step 3, which is solving multi-step equations. So this is where it's going to start getting really fun because you have several steps. What multi-step equations will require you to do is to combine like terms first, distribute and then combine like terms, and then solve those equations. There are videos for you to watch on that, so make sure that you're paying close attention to those. That's your task 1. Task 2 is a worksheet for you to complete and check your answers. Task 3 is your interactive notebook pages, and then task 4 is a Google form quiz. So that also is assigned in Google Classroom. Okay, so you will be completing that Google form on multi-step equations. All right, lesson 4 is an It's Learning quiz that kind of wraps up everything that you have done in this learning path. So you will take that 15-question quiz. And then finally, the last assignment is your assessments. Taking note, there are no new assignments this week. So this is just simply completing assessment 1 and assessment 2 if you did not do so already. Okay? Your next assessment assignment will be coming the following week, so you do not have a new one this week to complete. So if you finished it last week, you are good to go, and your It's Learning quiz was the last step of this learning path. All right? I hope you have a great week. Let's finish quarter 1 strong, and let me know if you have any questions. I look forward to our sessions on Monday and Wednesday, again at 11:30 this week. All right? I hope you have a great week. We'll talk soon. Bye.